Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Be Determined. Today we are going over the brand new Arachne update. So if you didn't know, Arachne got a quality of life change since the Spider's Den is supposed to be an early game item, and Arachne was such a late game boss for fighting the higher tiers. You needed so many different things. They actually changed it now, so it's a lot easier to fight, a lot easier to spawn, and a lot of other good things around to keep it relevant to end game. So we're going to go over everything in the patch notes and everything that's actually not in the patch notes. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's jump into it. So to start off, there is a brand new armor set to kind of bridge the gap between the early game collections and moving on to Ender armor. They added in the Arachne armor. So there is a full set of armor, and you can see it does have a tiered bonus. You get 5 health and defense per piece, but there are actually 8 pieces, so they are adding some more equipment into the game. If we wear it, you can see it actually looks really cool. I really like the mask on this one, and that red, we haven't really seen this color of red on a set before, but it's very cool. You can see with 4 out of 8 pieces, we get 20 health and 20 defense. And you do actually get this armor from fighting the Arachne boss. So if we warp into the spider's nest, the Arachne boss is still at the normal location. It's just they changed a couple things. So the fragments are now called Arachne's Callings instead of Arachne's Keeper fragments. So we've got those now. And you can see on the right side of the screen, it is now called Arachne's Burrow. So this whole area is called Arachne's Burrow. And someone's actually already fighting Arachne as we speak, but we won't have to wait long. She dies pretty quickly, but there are a lot of people out here fighting this guy. So the crystal still spawns the higher tier one, but the boss has way less health than it used to. It does have a damage cap on it, so I think the max damage that you can deal to the crystal one is about 5,000 damage per hit, and the max damage you can deal to the regular Arachne is 1,000. But I believe that the max level Arachne has about 1,000,000 health. It still splits into broods, so those are a little bit of a hindrance, but it doesn't actually spawn in spider webs as it walks around. You'll see once Arachne spawns in, they are fighting it right now, and it does have a decent chunk of HP, but it does not spawn in webs as it's fighting. Now it turns out it actually has 100,000 HP, so that's a lot less than I thought it had. But it is very easy to kill. The regular one has 10,000 HP, and it doesn't spawn in the web, so you don't absolutely have to have a phantom rod to actually be able to battle it. But while we're up here, there is someone else I would like you guys to meet, and that is this guy, the Spider Tamer. So the Spider Tamer has a new Spider Essence shop, which is why if we look at Spider Essence right now, it is way more expensive than it was 24 hours ago. But you can buy all of these different abilities. So the Empowered Agility reduces the mana cost of some movement abilities, and from what I've gathered, this includes the AOTE and AOTB abilities, but I know that the Hyperion is not included in this. I'm not sure about like the Shadow Fury or the Aetherwarp Conduit stuff. I don't know on those, but I know it works on AOTE and AOTB. Then you can receive less damage from spiders, increase your damage dealt to spiders, increase your combat wisdom while in the spider's den, and you can unlock the travel skull through Arachne's Sanctuary. So this is really expensive. You can see on the auction house, if we look up Sanctuary, the lowest price right now is 16 mil. It is 5,000 spider essence, so just a little pricey. But this spider training is actually a pretty big deal. You can get a lot more combat wisdom while on the spider's den, which means you'll be able to do your spider slayers much faster than you were able to previously, especially if you get this maxed out up to level 10 during derpy. Boss trading is going to be really powerful here. Now they did also add in some new stuff with the keepers. The keepers are a lot easier to fight now. Poison damage isn't nearly as bad as it was, especially with Arachne as well. You don't have to wear a cow head when you're fighting it. But other than that, they added more Arachne keeper spawns, and they made the keepers spawn more frequently. So the keepers drop the Arachne's Callings, which you need 4 to spawn the low level Arachne, and then spawning in the higher level Arachne costs the same as it used to. But there's 6 Arachne keeper spawns now. There used to be 3, and they spawned way less often. Now they spawn more often than they used to. There is actually a keeper spawn somewhere in the den here. I know I remember seeing one in here a couple times today. But other than the regular armor pieces which drop from fighting Arachne, you can also get the new Arachne equipment pieces from killing those keepers. It has a chance to drop from each keeper. You have a chance to get a different piece of equipment. I haven't dropped any because I've only killed like 2 keepers overall, but that is where you get the equipment from. There's also a new sword called Arachne. If we look that up, Arachne, the lowest price is 5,000 coins. It is decent for early game. if you're really early game, but if you're past combat 24, it's not very viable. But you can go ahead and buy this. It's very cheap right now. It does go into the museum, so that's going to be a free little bit of XP for you. So I do recommend doing that if you can. But those equipment pieces and armor pieces are co-op soulbound, so you have to grind for them yourself if you want them. And you can't just put the armor set into the museum. You have to have the armor set with the equipment. You have to have all 8 pieces to be able to throw this in the museum, so that is another thing. But you do also get spider essence from killing Arachne now, so that's going to be another bonus for you. Spider essence is a lot more expensive now, but it's also a lot more easy to come by. The max level, like the 100,000 health Arachne that you get from the crystals, is going to drop 30 spider essence as long as you deal any amount of damage to her. And the lower level one is going to give you 8 spider essence as long as you damage it or the brood. So with that knowledge, you'll be able to get some of these levels up pretty easily. Another thing that you can do if you get duplicate pieces of the Arachne gear is you can go over to the Blacksmith here and you can salvage those pieces. So you see, I dropped quite a few extra pieces today. I grinded Arachne out for like a couple of hours right when it came out. But we can salvage the chest plate for 5, the boots also for 5. So every extra piece that you get, you can salvage it for 5 extra spider essence, which does add up a lot if you find a group that is doing a bunch of spiders at once. Be able to get some good bestiary and be able to get some good spider essence. So I had 111 spider essence before we did all that. Now I've got 186, which not too bad considering I didn't even really spawn any of those drops in myself. Those were just from other people dropping them, because you don't have to spawn in the Arachne to be able to get the loot. You can get armor pieces as long as you place in the top 10, and you can even get duplicate pieces, so you can get a pair of leggings and a pair of boots from the same boss fight. Plus it does still drop the tarantula minion or the tarantula pet, so I dropped 2 of these epics today as well. There is also the thing that we have to talk about, luxurious spools. They still drop at the same rate from Arachne, and they may have died in price today. This morning they were going for about 80,000 a piece from InstaSell, and now they're going for about 200 from InstaSell. So it's way worse than it was, and it is definitely not nearly as viable to just AFK the brood mothers. But on the bright side, if you didn't have the Silky Reforge now, you can get it for a little under 2,000 coin. Unfortunately, I already paid like 300,000 earlier this month to get it. So anyways, there is also a couple of new talismans. So we have the vaccine talisman right here, which used to completely delete all poison effects. Now it deletes 10% of it, but you are in luck because you can actually upgrade the talisman. If we go to my island, there is a drop from Arachne called the Arachne's Fang right here. We dropped 5 of them today across the hours that we did. Arachne's Fang straight from the spider's mouth. If we right click with it, you see once you get 8 of these, you can upgrade the vaccine talisman to the vaccine ring. And like I said, this drops from Arachne. You don't even have to summon Arachne to be able to get this drop, but you will need 8 of them to upgrade your talisman. And that talisman is actually going for a lot right now. If we look up vaccine, go to lowest price, it is currently going for 1.1 mil on the auction house, 1.3 mil actually. And that's with 8 minutes left, so that could spike up to 5, 6, 7 mil. But it does take a lot of grinding to get to, so I don't know if it's really worth it. But that is only the uncommon version of that talisman. You can actually get the rare version with the new Thunderstorms. So they added Thunderstorms to the Spider's Den. We've always had rain, and it didn't really have too much of a reason other than fishing. And now it officially gives 50 extra fishing speed when it is raining. But they also added a second type of weather, which is the thunderstorm. And if it is thunderstorming, then the rain slimes that normally spawn over here will actually have a chance to turn into toxic rain slime. The toxic rain slimes have a 5% chance to drop poison samples, and you can use poison samples to upgrade your vaccine ring to a vaccine artifact. So if we go ahead and check in here, you can see there are no vaccine artifacts on the auction house right now. Thunderstorms are pretty rare. I haven't seen one happen yet, but you can see these poison samples do exist, dropped from rain slimes, but only the especially toxic ones. And they are currently going for well over 1 million coins on the auction house. So you're going to need 8 of those to upgrade your talisman. But that's not the only talisman that was added into the game today. We also got a brand new talisman that's not an upgrade of another talisman, which you can get from talking to the archaeologist normally. However, it is bugged. If you already have the archaeologist quest completed, you won't be able to get it. But it is right here, the archaeologist compass, which right click to point towards the nearest relic. Very useful if you haven't done the relics before and you don't know all the locations. I've done them so many times. I still don't know all the locations by heart, but it is going to be very useful. However, like I said, it is currently bugged. So if you've already done the challenges, he won't give it to you. But you can actually buy it from Rusty here at the gold mine. If we go all the way up to Rusty the janitor, you can see right here he has the archaeologist compass for the low price of 20k. So you can get an archaeologist compass for 20k if you don't want to wait until the bug is fixed. But yeah, it's just another free talisman to add into your talisman bag. They also did a couple of balancing changes to the items that you get from killing Arachne. The Spider Queen Stinger and the Venom's Touch, which are crafted with the Soul String from Arachne, got a couple of buffs. The Spider Queen Stinger doubles the damage of its ability. Right here, the Spider Queen Stinger. Arrows shot using this bow have an aura around them that deals extra damage to nearby enemies. Arrows travel through enemies. So you can see the base version, 360 damage, the upgraded version 600 damage. So that one got quite the buff. And then there is the Venom's Touch, which used to do 200 damage. Now it does 250. And if you star it all the way up, it used to be 300 damage, and now it's at 370 if it is max star. So that's just another little quality of life thing. Good for mid game, makes those weapons actually a little bit more viable if you don't have a dragon short bow yet. Still, if you have a short bow, it's pretty much always going to be better than any other bow that you can get. Short bows are just so much better than anything else as far as DPS goes, and even just striking mobs faster. If you can one-shot a mob, having a short bow is going to be able to get you those extra kills a lot easier. Now, they did actually have to postpone the garden update. If you guys didn't see, the garden update was on alpha about a week ago, and it looked insane, but it was actually extremely buggy. There were a lot of issues with it, so they have postponed all the way back to the start of next year, 2023, but they wanted to give us a little bit of farming content in the meantime, so they did decide to give us a new mayor, which I expect will show up in the next election, which is in 12 hours from me recording this. But he has 3 new perks: Farming Simulator, Pelt Apocalypse, and Goaded. The Farming Simulator gives a 25% chance for Mathematical Hose and the Cultivating Enchant to count twice. So basically this is going to be a buff for all of those different Mathematical Hose. So the Sugarcane one, the Carrot one, and then the Cultivating Enchant also. They will start counting twice, 25% of the time. So you're going to be able to get 25% more counts onto those hoes if you use them while Finnegan is mayor. Then there's Pelt Apocalypse, which gives you more pelts from Trevor while you're doing the trapper mob locations and all of that stuff. And it adds a new trapper mob, and you can buy exclusive items from the pelt shop. So I'm guessing he's going to have special items similar to how Scorpius adds special items to the Dark Auction while he is mayor. There will be special items in the pelt shop while Finnegan is mayor. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get our first tier 13 minions. I don't know if that's a little bit far out there, but I think it would be pretty interesting. Or maybe we even get foraging T12 minions from this as well. Other than that, there's not really a ton of things that I can think of, but I do recommend being mentally prepared to grind out some pelts when Finnegan gets elected, which will likely be within the next week. Finally, there is Goaded. Jacob's farming contest brackets include 10% more players each. So basically, the way that brackets work right now, if we go in game and talk to Mr. Jacob, which apparently I haven't spoken to until this point, you can see it does the contests every 3 days. The top player to increase their collection the most earn Jacob's tickets and unique reward. If we go to our contest, you can see the medal bracket. Top 5% get gold, top 25% get silver, and top 25% get bronze. That may be bugged a little bit. I don't think both get both. I think bronze is actually the top 60%, but that percentage will be increased by 10 while Finnegan is mayor. So the top 15% of a contest will get gold. The top 35% of a contest will get silver, and the top 70% will get bronze. So it'll be a lot easier to get gold during this point, be able to out-plan the macroers no matter how hard they try. They will not be able to stop you from getting that gold medal if you really, really want it. But we finally got our barrier replacement, so that's cool. And I've always wanted a mayor with a perk that increased the chances of getting gold medal. I thought that was an amazing idea, and I'm glad that they actually implemented that into the game. But that is all from today's update. If you did enjoy, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless.